The architecture of the past hides many secrets in the most ingenious buildings of mankind. You can find mysterious symbols that have been left in the massive structures. The underground tower is part of the palace called Quinta da Regalera, 28 kilometers from Lisbon. It was bought by Carvalho Monteiro in 1892. It was he who made the inconspicuous of the brilliant palace of Antonio Augusto Carvalho Monteiro his fortune in selling coffee and jewelry, and was also a member of the Masonic Lodge. The man had a good legal education and rich imagination, and even during his lifetime the underground tower was inspired by the divine community of Dante. The tower consists of 9 levels, which symbolize the 7 circles of hell, and was also cleaned according to the schedule. According to legend, in a mysterious well with a depth of 27 meters, reminiscent of an upside-down tower, Freemasons conducted an initiation ceremony at the bottom of a Masonic well. Through an 8-pointed star is shown. It looks like a compass and also the lotus symbol of the Freemasons. Each staircase has 15 steps. The exit below leads to the east of the city and to the grottos. It is believed that if one went down the spiral staircase blindfolded, passed the same number of steps, entered a trance and entered the path of Dante, lived, overcoming purgatory, thanks to the penetration of the sun's rays, one was reborn in this way. The rite of passage ends metaphorically with the exit from the subject to the light, so that you feel like a Freemason. You can visit the castle built by Carvalho Monteiro and walk down the steps. Archaeologists have been interested in this artifact of ancient Egypt for a long time. Researchers tried for a long time to understand for what purposes this artifact was intended, but could not give an exact answer. The original location of this item, according to the information available, it was either 1828 bought from a museum in Holland or from a Swedish museum in 1830, but now this artifact is in London museums. The artifact itself is a small alabaster disc with a diameter of 49 centimeters and a height of 13 centimeters, weight 75 kilograms, and thus the main question that torments everyone and its purpose, depending on the versions available. It was used for conservation or ritual purposes, but why do you make such a complex object for burial? It remains a mystery. The arrangement of the number of different holes has been explained with technical purposes. They were supposedly needed for flowing oils and other liquids necessary for embalming, are considered incomplete despite the available versions and do not fully explain the meaning of this artifact. Discovery of a Greek crown made of pure gold, which is 2,300 years old. Experts determined that it is a real crown. We see, from 300 BC, the product has been made by a goldsmith in northern Greece, suggests that the mud poured deep into the crown, that it was once preserved. The ancient Greeks used crowns in the form of wreaths during religious holidays and sporting competitions. Such crowns were particularly associated with Aphrodite. He is known to have been actively traveling in the 40s and 50s of the last century and was particularly interested in the home of Alexander the Great in the center of the North Island of New Zealand. Around the lake there is a pristine forest that has been declared a protected forest park that formed in the 1990s on the site of a huge volcano. 30 kilometers from this lake, tourists discover mysterious ruins of a once huge structure. This mysterious one location is in New Zealand, made of rectangular stone blocks, each about 1 meter high, about 2 meters long and weighing several tons. Some blocks are similar to each other with jeweler precision, and between some there are gaps of several centimeters to illustrate the uneven settlement of the foundation under the block. Straight horizontal lines can be drawn between the laying of the lower and upper rows of blocks. It is believed that the truth is the only visible part in a much larger structure that is below the block is located. 3 main versions are expressed about the origin of the wall. The first wall was built about 2,000 years ago, New Zealand's first settlers. The second, the wall is the remains of a hospital built 50 years ago or a little more. And the third version states that this is only a natural formation. The future study of the wall will undoubtedly lead this list to one point. However, the fact that a tree grows on one of the wall sections with a circumference of almost 3 meters, thus reducing the likelihood of it is 50 years old or a little more. No new structures were built, except for small stone facts that suggest that New Zealand was settled 200 years ago. Here are some more interesting facts. In 1997, a stone statue was found of a 2.7 meter tall woman, possibly the goddess of an unknown people who inhabited New Zealand. The next great mystery of New Zealand is linked to archaeological excavations. What was found therein is however unknown. In 1988 the New Zealand government classified all the results of these excavations for 75 years, which caused a storm of indignation across the country. The legitimacy of the imposed ban on the publication of archaeological information is hotly debated. In the press the government justified clumsily and justified its position with the interests of politics, but the fact remains a document signed by the archaeologist, which contains 14 pages of the so-called cipher text of the archaeological excavations in the forest, 1979 to 1988, which cannot be published until 2063. According to some eyewitnesses, this is a huge stone house in an Aryan city, but whether this is obvious we will not find out until 2063. The last 16 years of ufology is a skillful forgery or a product of an extraterrestrial civilization, in which a mysterious object was discovered in 2004 in the desert of the American state of New Mexico. Its owner became a 56-year-old man who lives near the place where the stone was found. It is a small triangular stone with rounded edges on a smooth dark brown surface with unusual symbols, which represent the lunar cycles. The find is named after a developed small town also famous for the collapse of its surroundings in July 1947. All information about this incident is still held in the secret archives of the USA. They took up studying the artifact, but couldn't figure out what technology made it possible to make a drawing in hard stone so skillfully that even under the microscope no traces of tools were seen. But this is only part of the puzzle. In addition, the researchers learned that a stone has magnetic properties. When it is held on a magnet it begins to rotate clockwise or vice versa, depending on the position of the magnet. The researchers also found a striking resemblance between the images and those found in Great Britain in 1996. On one of the fields they matched those in shape. All of this is enough to assign artifacts to the mysteries of the century.
What's going on? This is Cotton. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.